Good morning once again and welcome along to Sports on the Weekend show. I am Monday Thomas and I'm pleased as Sponge to take you around the very exciting world of sports. I won't be doing that alone. Joining me is the considerable help of my friend MC Sam. Good morning.
Good morning.
You look very great today. What's going on?
I really want to thank our last week guest on Entrepreneur Spotlight, House of Harley. She gave me this as a gift, so that's why I'm making sure that's really good.
All right, so let's talk about the week. How was it for you in sports?
Wow, gosh, I say sad because we lost someone great. Not just someone, two people at the end of it, Diogo Jota and Peter Rufai.
Yeah, and as well as his brother, Andrew Silva.
Yeah.
All right, let's begin on that particular note. A bittersweet week in sports it was after we saw excitement in the FIFA Club World Cup and as well as the Wimbledon currently ongoing in London. On Thursday, it wasn't a very pleasant news, and we are going to talk about that in details. But first off, let's take a look at the week in review. On Sunday, it was after just a few days, Lionel Andres Messi celebrating his 38th birthday. Paris Saint-Germain handed Inter Miami a very harsh lesson in the round of 16 of the FIFA Club World Cup, beating Inter Miami by 4-0. The European champions are through to the quarterfinals, and there will be in action later on today. On Monday, we saw the beginning or the start of the 138th edition of the Wimbledon. Day one, where we saw Carlos Alcaraz, who was threatened for an upset. He was pushed into the fifth round where he was very, very stressed. But being a superstar that he is, he was able to overcome Fabio Fognini, the world-ranked 138 in the round one of the Wimbledon. In day two, which was on Tuesday, we saw upsets already in the Wimbledon, and that was the first time we are seeing two of the top three seeds in world tennis in the Open era knocked out in the first round of the Wimbledon, and that was two Americans, Jessica Pegula and as well as Coco Gauff. On Tuesday, we saw an exciting encounter as well as it concerns the women's Wimbledon. But we have something. We had something on Wednesday, and which was indeed a Women's Squash Wednesday. The 14th edition of the Women's Euros got on the way, and we saw a shocking win as Finland were 1-0 winners against Iceland. On Thursday, it was a very sad one for the sports world, not just the footballing world, because I saw the Wimbledon players who wore white, who were, of course, paying their tribute to the late Diogo Jota. The early hours of Thursday saw the announcement of the demise of Liverpool's talisman and as well as Portuguese international Diogo Jota, who scored his last goal, which proved to be a very important one as Liverpool went ahead to win their 20th Premier League title. Late hours of Thursday saw the announcement by the NFF, which, of course, Peter Rufai was in the news for the very wrong reason after, of course, a very illustrious career playing for the Super Eagles and also his time in Spain. After a prolonged illness, Peter Rufai took a bow. On Friday, we, of course, saw the excitement as well still going on in the world of sports. It's quite very sad that whatever happens in the world still has to move on. Friday saw the first quarterfinal encounter, and it was Fluminense who was 2-1 winners against Al Hilal, and they are through to the semifinals where they are going to be taking on Chelsea, who were 2-1 winners last night against their opponent, another Brazilian side, Flamengo. So today is going to see the rest of the quarterfinals encounter as we await the final four in the semifinals as far as club football is concerned. But now let's get into the action, and before we do that, let's have a feel of the game of the week, and it's rather very different. All right, the game of the week is very different, and it is indeed not the action we saw in the world of football this week. It was that of Diogo Jota and as well as Peter Rufai as the weekend show pays tribute to these football legends. Anyone in world football wear it, and as well as Peter Rufai, who was fantastic as well in his playing days, featured for Nigeria in 1994 AFCON winning. But we have to move on, and what a shame. So it's life. Now let's get to talk about women's football. It is finally getting the recognition it deserves, as well as in terms of the prize money. We've seen the increase of the prize pool in the upcoming Women's Cup of Nations, which is the WAFCON 2024, which is going to be played in 2025, beginning today, where the host nation will be in action. And here you have it on your screens, 100% increase from the last edition as far as the prize pool is concerned. You can see on your screens, 1 million will go to the winner of the Women's Cup of Nations. Let's stick with the Women's Cup of Nations before we get to talk about the Euros 2025 currently ongoing as well. Please, let's stick with African football right now. We still have a lot to talk about them. But first of all, how do you feel women's football is now getting that prize money injected into football?
The thing is, no, everybody's, to be honest, like me, the core of my team, Arsenal, for example, women football is the way we use to console ourselves. You understand?
Yeah.
When you tell me Arsenal didn't do well, I'll tell you, we won the Champions League, we won this, we won that, we won. So women football is something we now is like a way of consoling or compensating yourself. So they really need to invest more on it. That is just the truth.
All right, talking about investing, the Super Falcons have invested a lot in terms of the players who are going to be featuring in the Women's Cup of Nations later on today, where Morocco are going to be the host. It's the 15th edition, and guess what? The Super Falcons have qualified for the entire edition, and as well as they've made it to either the semifinals or the finals. Those are the best finishes for the Super Falcons. Since we are still talking women's football, let's finish it up with the Euros 2025 currently ongoing, as it also involves the increase of prize money. This time around is 156% increase in the prize pool of women's football in the Euros, and currently we are going to see the winner go home with 1.8 million euros. And let's compare that to the Women's Cup of Nations here in Africa. Now, if you need to know, the Women's Cup of Nations in Africa started before the Euros Women. So the Euros Women is currently in its 14th edition, and the Women's Cup of Nations here in Africa is heading into its 15th edition. Now, let's compare the prize money. Should Africa not be better than the Euros Cup of Nations as far as women's football is concerned, since it started before Euros?
The thing is, see, in Africa, we're already used to watching women football, women cup of competitions, like since 2000, far back. Now, but the thing, you can't compare how they get their funds. Now, there are more sponsors in Europe than in Africa, so you can't compare.
All right, let's move ahead, and now let's get to talk about what the world is seeing currently ongoing in the United States of America. The FIFA Club World Cup is now in its final 8, and yesterday we saw the first game of the quarterfinals. Fluminense 2-1 wins against Al Hilal, who were able to get a point from Real Madrid, who were able to beat 2023 UEFA Champions League champions, and that is Manchester City. They were knocked out by the Brazilian Giants, 2-1 finish. And last night, Palmeiras, another Brazilian giant, fell to the 2021 UEFA Champions League winners, Chelsea, a 2-1 win. And Estavio, the man who was already in contract with Chelsea, played his final game for Palmeiras. He was great and scoring a very fantastic goal. But Chelsea were winners in the late minutes via an own goal. Later on today, we are going to see Paris Saint-Germain take on Bayern Munich, and also another German giant to be in action against Real Madrid. Let's get your take. Let's get your predictions as we get to move on.
The truth is, Chelsea is looking like they want to surprise us. And I'm sure my boss, Mr. Andy, is very happy about that. Because I am surprised. I was not expecting it to beat
Flamengo.
The Flamengo, sorry. And
Palmeiras, I beg your pardon.
And it went, and they shocked us, because to be honest, I was thinking they were not that unique, but I think they will go far. But the person I'm suspecting will win this. Another team that shocked us was Al Hilal.
Yeah,
you know, everybody were like, they beat Man City, they beat draw Madrid, so everybody like, they will do something unique. Well, at the end of the day, they were pushed out. So the main focus on is PSG and Bayern. Whoever wins that match.
All right. Are you excited about the format of the FIFA Club World Cup?
To be honest, at the end of the day, I'm enjoying it.
It's absolutely fantastic. And of course, kudos to the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino. We are going to see the next one 4 years later, and it's going to involve the winners of the confederations, the teams that have stayed relevant in their different confederations. Now, let's get to talk about what is ongoing in London as it involves the 138th Wimbledon Championship. We've seen Carlos Alcaraz, who is doing greatly. He's through to the 4th round, which he's going to be in action against Andy Rublev of Russia. But let's first of all hear from Aryna Sabalenka. She was absolutely grateful for the atmosphere at the Wimbledon.
And guys, wow, what an atmosphere. I mean, my ears are still hurting, honestly. It was super loud. I was pretending. Honestly, every time you were cheering her up, I was just trying to tell myself, just pretend they're cheering for you, and I was having goosebumps. Honestly, it was just wow. Thank you for the atmosphere.
A vote of thanks from Aryna Sabalenka as she was victorious against world number 40 and British number 1 Emma Raducanu in a very feisty encounter. 7-6, 8-6, 6-4. It finished in favor of Aryna Sabalenka. She's through to the 4th round, and she will be in action against Belgian top seed Elise Mertens, and that will be in action on Sunday. Special thanks to you, MC Sam, for joining me on the show.
Thank you.
And special thanks to you as well for watching. I remain Monday Thomas, and see you later for something greater.